What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Michael. Today we're going to do a little Alistar video. We talk about the pros and cons of Alistar, talk about runes and masteries, talk about skilling order, also item builds, also talk about laning phase and team fighting phase, and kind of try and set a nice little groundwork for the little Alistar support. So, without further ado, let's dive right into the pros and cons of Mr. Alistar. The pros of Alistar support are things like very high levels of disruption and very strong peel. He's very tanky and actually quite good at initiating fights. And he's a very strong AoE heal in certain situations. The cons of Alistar support are things like very high mana cost and cooldowns, especially on his Q and his W. He basically is very reliant on landing the combo to set up plays in a lot of situations. And he can very easily save an opposing team member by just messing up the combo or by landing a bad W and pushing him away from the team. Let's shift focus to runes and masteries next. For the runes, I like to run armor reds and armor yellows. For the blues and the quints, it really depends on the matchup and when I feel like running. For example, blues, I'll either run flat MR blues, cooldown reduction blues, or scaling mana regen blues. For the quints, I'll either run GP10 quints or HP quints depending on the matchup and what I feel like running. For masteries, I like to run 0921 more often than not. I feel that the cooldown reduction and the nimble movement speed that is give you a lot of bang for your buck at the bottom of that tree, especially for Alistar. But if you have a tough matchup, you can go 01316, 01416, or 11316 if you want to as well. Now we talked about runes and masteries, let's cover item builds and skilling order. You want to start with Fairy Charm, 2 green wards, 1 pink ward, and 2 red potions. On your first buy back, you want to buy either a Sight Stone or a Fearless Stone. In some cases, you may want to get the Tier 1 boots. Your core should be a Locket, an Aegis, some type of GP10, a Ruby Sight Stone, and some type of boots, that being Lucidity or Mobile boots. Optional builds are things like Frozen Heart Randuins. If you went Warden's Mail earlier, you can upgrade into those. If you want a Chalice for more mana regen, grab that. Maybe upgrade into a Makios at some point. Those would be more of an optional kind of build path. For skilling order, you're going to want to max Q, your E, and then your W last, while getting your ulti at level 6, 11, and 16. I like maxing E second. That's just my preference. If you like maxing W, go ahead. I just feel that E gives me more bang for my buck than W does to max second. So it's all about personal preference with skilling order. How you play Alistar in lane depends on what kind of lane you're going against. If you're going against a more passive or poke-based lane, you can indeed play Alistar aggressively pretty effectively. It depends primarily on whether or not they give you plays to make as Alistar and whether or not your AD carry has good damage to follow up on. Against a more aggressive bot lane though, you want to try and play this lane a little bit more reactionary. If the enemy support goes aggressive onto your AD carry, you're going to want to try and zone out their AD carry by headbutting him away, pulling him up in the air, and trying to zoning him out from the fight as best as you can. If you're going against a Blitzcrank or a Thresh, it may be wise to position yourself in between your AD carry and the Blitzcrank or the Thresh. So they go for the pull, it's you who's getting pulled. You could try and maybe absorb the pull, absorb the damage as well, or maybe try and make a play off of it and try and turn it around a little bit. Post laning phase as Alistar, you should be warding, dewarding effectively. You should be going for objectives, trying to make picks and catch people out of position. You should be peeling for AD carry. If your AD carry is getting dove by a little old Aurelia, which probably doesn't happen anymore because nobody plays her, but let's just say he is, you should of course be peeling for him. Alistar has very strong peel and is actually a very good bodyguard in team fights. One of the unique things about Alistar that makes him actually pretty fun to play is the fact that he can actually initiate team fights relatively well. His QW is like a little mini Malphite ulti, basically. His ulti makes him very tanky for free and with very little items because it reduces damage and also removes CC effects that are currently placed upon him. Actually makes him quite a disruptive force and actually allows him to do some decent things when initiating. That being said, you should only initiate a team fight as Alistar if you know your team can follow up and you can win the team fight. And if you have no other champions on the team who can initiate a team fight well. If you have a Zac, a Sejuani, or a Jarvan, for example, you probably shouldn't be initiating team fights as Alistar and mostly focusing on peeling and just being a disruptive kind of bodyguard for the backline. Going in this video, we're going to talk about Elise, the scary spider lady in the bot lane as a support. In this video, we're going to talk about everything from the pro